What's going on, guys? It's Boyce here with a quick brief pertaining to the Captain Marvel movie, particularly some photos that are circulating throughout the internet showing us, I guess, a costume or a prototype of the costume that Captain Marvel, played by Brie Larson, is going to be wearing in the movie. What I think is particularly interesting are the colors that they're using here. It's like a teal-ish color. It's like either it's green with a little bit of blue or blue with a little bit of green, obviously with some gray and some black on there, which I think is an homage to the original Captain Marvel, Mar-Vell, I know, corny name, who was Captain Marvel for a long time, and then eventually Carol Danvers took over that mantle as Captain Marvel. And it seems that Jude Law, who was casted for this film, may or may not be playing Mar-Vell. It's highly speculated or highly theorized that he is the male lead opposite to Brie Larson in this, so he's probably going to be Mar-Vell. And given the history of the character, basically on a chance encounter, Carol Danvers, who worked for the Air Force, her DNA gets kind of mixed up with Mar-Vell's DNA, and it kind of gives her powers. Now, it's possible Mar-Vell is going to be somewhat of a presence in this movie, but I also think maybe there's a possibility that they're going to take a little bit of inspiration from Hal Jordan's origins in the Green Lantern, I guess, mythos, where Hal Jordan, again, is part of the Air Force and happens to see an alien ship that crash lands, and it's the alien Abin Sur, who is a Green Lantern. And before he dies, he hands over his Green Lantern ring to Hal Jordan and says, hey, here's what you have to do now. This is your responsibility because I got to peace out. I'm dying. So I think there's a chance that that may also be the case, and they'll really just focus on Carol Danvers for the majority of this movie. It'll be interesting to see when she's wearing this costume in particular, how it plays into the movie, what exactly she's doing, how much of it is based on Earth, how much is based in space. But I think it's interesting, again, particularly the colors that they're choosing. And I really like the overall design that they're trying to go with. Again, this is not exactly how it's going to look in the movie. Marvel would absolutely not do that. That would be a total botch. So, guys, just take it easy. It's just a prototype, and it'll get fixed up in post-production. And in terms of the story, it may also be a prototype as well. We don't exactly know if this is her final suit in the film, if this will be the only suit, which brings me to my next point. As a comic book fan, I was kind of thinking to myself, hey, maybe, you know, Marvel is known for giving their superheroes multiple costumes. So I thought to myself, what nods or homages or little Easter eggs would I personally like to see them throw out there for Captain Marvel in this movie pertaining to her costumes? So I got a few picks of other costumes, or at least, you know, nods to other costumes that I'd like to see for Carol Danvers in the Captain Marvel movie. First up is the updated version of her original costume. I guess you could say it's her second costume. Now, the reason I don't say her original costume when she was Miss Marvel is because it looks absolutely ridiculous. She's barely wearing anything. But this updated design for the original costume honestly looks kind of cool. And yeah, she doesn't exactly have leggings, but she has some really big boots, it seems. And I like the color scheme. It's kind of like a nice color, a nice shade of red and some black. And I think it would be a nice kind of throwback to her Miss Marvel origins, which I think they should maybe do here and there. And obviously with the scarf as well, would be kind of cool if they went ahead and they did that. Second, it would be probably her most famous costume, which is, I guess, her third costume, where she wore for most of her time as Miss Marvel for decades, honestly. And it's the one with the lightning bolt on it. Now, I think this one might be a little bit more difficult for them to kind of put out there. I guess given because she has the lightning bolt. I know that may seem like a ridiculous reason, but we're going to have the Shazam movie out there, and maybe it looks a little too similar to Captain Marvel Shazam. I know the character is now known as Shazam, but he was also known as Captain Marvel back in the day. And to have Marvel's Captain Marvel with a costume that has a lightning bolt on it, maybe they just want to stay as far away from that as they possibly can. The third costume I'd like to see, and this is kind of I'm throwing two into this one pick here. And that's when Captain Mar-Vell was transitioning from calling herself Warbird, not to get too much into her backstory, but she changed her name a couple times. She actually officially joined S.H.I.E.L.D. And for a time period, she wore, I guess, a little bit more of a traditional S.H.I.E.L.D. costume or uniform, which I think would be interesting if she is also part of S.H.I.E.L.D. in this movie. Maybe they should have a bit of an homage to that period of time where she was officially part of S.H.I.E.L.D. in the comic books. And she also had a version of her costume where she was wearing, where she had a bit of a mohawk, which again kind of have the similar color scheme of like a gray, maybe gray and black. That is, it's a costume that is basically her modern costume, but with the gray and black colors that I personally think looks kind of cool. And again, this is when she was part of S.H.I.E.L.D. So this is, you know, technically two different costumes. One that is just more of a S.H.I.E.L.D.-ish costume, and another one that is more of her modern day Captain Mar-Vell costume, but it's just the color scheme is completely different, and I actually think it looks kind of cool. And obviously the last choice, and this is probably what her costume will be eventually, if not in this movie, but in whatever future movie she's in, particularly an Avengers movie that they throw her in, is her modern day costume, her current costume. Honestly, I personally think it's a pretty cool costume. I'm pretty sure with the MCU attention to detail, they can definitely make it look cool. They can definitely add features to it. You know, make it look more ergonomic, make it look like it's a cross between a jet pilot's suit as well as some sort of armor suit, or maybe they take some inspiration from whatever the Kree are wearing in this movie. I'm all for them eventually adopting this costume for her, and then obviously giving her like the MCU treatment, the Captain America treatment, where they keep updating the costume in future movies that she'll be in, whether it's Solo or Avengers movie or any other team up movie that she'll be in. So with that said, just some quick thoughts on the pictures showing her costume. I mean, let me know what you guys think below in the comments. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Are you alright with the colors? Do you want to see a completely different costume? What costumes do you want to see? Do you even want to see this movie? Personally, I'm kind of excited for a Captain Mar-Vell movie. I know she hasn't gotten the best treatment as of late in Marvel Comics, but I still think that's a really cool character that deserves her chance to be in the movies and to get some really cool stories told on her behalf. She has a pretty interesting backstory as is. So, again, if you guys are new here, hit that subscribe button. And if you haven't already, hit the bell icon to get notifications every time we upload a video here on the Spectacular Spoiler League. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.